Learn all must-know glossary terms for CompTIA Security SY0-701. Part 1.
Code signing. This is the digital signing of scripts and executables done to confirm the software creator guarantees the code has not been changed or corrupted after the signing took place. This is a covery location that already includes items like tables, chairs, and bathrooms, and might also have basic technical setup, such as electrical, phone, and data lines. Collision. This is a situation where two files that are different from each other end up sharing or using the very same hash. This is a committee, specialized group for governance inside an organization that concentrates on specific parts of operational needs or security. Common Vulnerability Enumeration, CVE. This is a database that assists analysts in putting threats into context, providing historical information regarding how comparable vulnerabilities were exploited. Common Vulnerability Scoring System, CVSS. This is a tool with many facets that offers a strong method for evaluating vulnerabilities in a manner that is standardized. Compensating control. This is an alternate control method to lower the risk associated with a current or potential weakness in control. Complexity. This is a natural trait of automated systems, which usually requires specialized abilities for design, implementation, and maintenance. Compliance. When talking about internal audits, this means adhering to organizational policies, regulations, and relevant laws. Compliance reporting. This is a structured way of working that provides useful insights for internal people and also meets outside obligations by creating precise documents. These documents must follow industry standards and regulations, usually within tight deadlines, so that penalties can be avoided. Compute resources. These are the hardware and software parts that make computation and data processing possible, including memory, CPUs, storage, and the programs and algorithms underneath them. Concurrent session usage. This refers to several sessions happening at the same time from one user account, which might show that credentials are being shared or that access is unauthorized. Confidentiality. This is the part of the CIA triad meant to safeguard information so that it is protected from disclosure and unauthorized access. Configuration enforcement. This is the application of policies, system settings, and controls in a consistent and standardized way throughout all of an organization's devices, systems, and network. This is a very careful process of validation that will either deny or affirm whether a suspected vulnerability actually exists. Conflict of interest. This is a situation that happens when a vendor has competing personal or professional interests that might get in the way of their ability to act in the best interest of the organization. Conservative risk appetite. This describes how an organization prefers lower levels of risk, concentrating on sustainable growth and stability. It is a container and all its dependencies put together into one single artifact underneath a root file system. Containment. This is a stage during incident response where devices that have been compromised on the network are isolated from the rest of the network, done to prevent the incident from spreading. Content categorization. This is a highly detailed type of web filtering that requires looking closely at the separate elements of a website. Continuity of operations planning, COOP. This is a federal effort designed to encourage departments and people to create plans addressing how necessary operations will keep going, even under many different circumstances. Continuous integration and continuous testing. This is a process where code changes, provided by many developers, are regularly and automatically integrated into one repository. This is immediately followed by many careful automated tests to guarantee the security and quality of the code. This is also known as continuous integration and continuous testing, or CICT. This is A negative effect on future business relationships and current agreements that happens when an organization fails to follow regulatory, legal, or agreed-upon standards. Term: control plane. Definition: this is the part of the network architecture that handles traffic control and routing. Within the Zero Trust model, it's vital for making smart decisions based on security protocols and policies. Term: controller. This is the entity or group that decides how and why personal data will be processed. Term: corporate-owned, personally enabled. COPE. Definition: this is a policy where a company gives a phone to an employee, and that phone can also be used for their personal activities. Term: corrective controls. This is a group of controls used once an event has already happened. They work to limit how much damage occurs and help the company recover fast. This category includes things like tape backup, hot sites, and other methods for fault tolerance and disaster recovery. Sometimes these controls are called compensating controls. Term: cost. Definition: this refers to the financial spending needed to put in place, keep running, and update automated systems. Term: credential replay. This is an attack where valid user credentials are captured, then reused later to get unauthorized access. Term: critical data. This is data that is essential for a business to keep functioning continuously. This is a weakness that lets an attacker insert harmful scripts into web pages, which users then view. Term: cryptographic attack. Definition: this is an attack that targets a cryptography implementation that is weak. Term: cryptographic vulnerability. Definition: this is a flaw in the methods used to encrypt and decrypt information, which are meant to protect data integrity and confidentiality. Term: custodian or steward. Definition: this is someone who takes care of the technical side of things, like data storage, maintenance, and security. Term: cybersecurity activity. Definition: this is an action taken to help identify risks, understand what they are like, put them in order of importance, and then ultimately eliminate or reduce them. Term: cybersecurity tool. Definition: this is a device or other aid used to enhance and keep up a good cybersecurity posture. This can range from a specialized protocol that automates security checks to a solution for monitoring and management in real time. Term: dark web. Definition: this is a part of the Internet, often called the deep web, which includes all web pages that are not indexed by standard search engines, like Bing or Google. Term: dashboard. This is a user interface that organizes information and shows it in a format that is easy to read, often using things like charts, graphs, and gauges. Term: data at rest. Definition: this is data that is being stored in things like file systems, storage media, or databases. Term: data classification. This is the practice of sorting data into different types based on how sensitive it is and who needs to access it. This sorting also considers the consequences if the data were disclosed without authorization to an organization or to individuals. Term: data exfiltration. This is when data is transferred from a computer without authorization. Term: data in transit. This is data that is currently moving between locations, such as over the internet or across private networks. Term: data in use. Definition: this is data that is currently being accessed, manipulated, or processed. Term: data inventory. This is a map or catalog that points out where different types of data are kept within an organization's systems. This is done to help ensure the organization's cybersecurity posture and make sure they comply with legal requirements. Data loss prevention. This is a data protection strategy that uses a set of tools intended to detect transmissions related to data exfiltration and potential data breaches. Term: data masking. This is the process where specific data inside a database is replaced with fictitious data that still has a similar structure. Term: data plane. This is the part of the network architecture that handles moving user data inside the network. In the Zero Trust model, it ensures policies set by the control plane are enforced. This guarantees that data packets are properly routed, checked, and possibly blocked or changed according to the security protocols and policies that exist. This is sometimes called the forwarding plane.
Data retention. The process of keeping certain types of information for a specified period, as mandated by either company policy or regulatory requirements.
Data sovereignty. The legal and regulatory requirements that apply to data based on where it is collected or processed.
A data subject. An individual whose personal data is being processed.
Database encryption. Encryption of a database to protect sensitive information.
Deprovisioning. The process of disabling or removing a user's permissions and settings, such as when an employee leaves the company or transitions to a different role. Decentralized governance structure. A governance structure in which decision-making authority is distributed across different parts of an organization.
A system with data and control distributed across multiple locations, servers, or nodes.
Decommissioned. Assets that have been appropriately disposed.
Decommissioning. This is the process, which is planned, of removing hardware, software, or subsystems from being actively used. Defensive penetration testing. This is a way of finding security weaknesses that looks at how well an organization can find, stop, and lessen security incidents. It is also called blue teaming.
A list of specific elements, characters, or patterns that are disallowed from being entered into a system. Destruction. The process of physically disassembling or obliterating hardware assets. The phase of the NIST incident response lifecycle during which indicators of compromise are identified. Detective controls. A category of controls aimed at monitoring and detecting unauthorized behavior and hazards. These types of controls are generally used to alert to failures in other types of controls, such as preventive, deterrent, and compensating controls. Deterrent controls. A category of controls that an organization uses to try to deter threat actors from executing offensive assaults on its environment. Their main objective is to prevent incidents from occurring, but the idea is that deterrent controls discourage attackers from proceeding just by their presence. Development. The process of identifying key objectives, defining the scope, and setting measurable goals. Device attributes. Specific characteristics and functionalities that determine how a security device operates in a network environment. Device placement. Thoughtful positioning of hardware devices in a network. Digital forensics. A multidisciplinary approach to uncovering, analyzing, and preserving electronic evidence in investigations or legal proceedings. Digital signature. A mathematical scheme for verifying the authenticity of digital messages or documents. Directive controls. A category of controls that guide the operation and use of systems within an organization. These controls serve to instruct or direct individuals towards secure behavior. Examples of directive controls include standards, procedures, policy guidelines, and security awareness training programs. These controls are also known as instructive controls. Directory traversal. An attack where someone gets to files and directories that are stored outside of the folder structure the application was supposed to use. Also called path traversal. Unused or unnecessary ports and protocols. This is a step we take to reduce the attack surface. We do this by limiting the possible ways attackers could get in.
closing off ports and protocols that we don't need or aren't using.
Disaster recovery policy. This is a policy for keeping the business running that specifically concentrates on bringing IT operations and infrastructure back online after some kind of crisis happens.
Discretionary access control doc. This is an access control approach usually decided by whoever owns the resource. Disinformation. This is information that is purposefully misleading and spread with the specific goal of causing harm.
Disruption chaos. This is simply the act of using disruptive activities to bring about confusion or disorder.
Distributed denial of service, DDoS attack. This is an attack where a target system gets completely flooded with so much network traffic that it just stops responding. DNS filtering. This is the method of blocking people from being able to reach specific IP addresses, web pages, or entire websites. Documentation. This is written material that is used to give details about a process or a system. Domain name system DNS attack. This is an attack aimed at the system that handles translating domain names we can read into the necessary IP addresses.
Domain-based message authentication reporting and conformance, DMARC. This is a protocol that lets an email receiver verify two things. First, that the email truly came from the specific domain, and second, that nothing was changed on the way.
Domain keys identified, mail DKIM. This is a protocol that allows the sender to digitally sign parts of an email, making it possible for us to verify that the message is authentic. Downgrade attack. This is a kind of cryptographic attack that forces a strong algorithm to roll back and use an older one instead, one that has lower quality or uses an outdated operating mode.
This refers to any period of time when a system, a network, or a piece of software is either totally offline or simply unavailable for the people who need to use it.
Due care. This is the continuous effort involved in maintaining a process or a system after we have already established it.
Due diligence. This is the proactive work of gathering information and taking steps to fully understand all the potential risks and potential problems before you finalize a decision. Dynamic analysis. This is a kind of testing done while a program is actually running. It looks at the application from the outside, watching its running state and trying to manipulate it to find security weaknesses.
E-discovery. This is the process we follow to find, identify, gather, and then produce information that is stored electronically when we receive an official legal request.
Ease of recovery. When we talk about how a system is set up, this refers to how strong the plans are for both business continuity and recovering from a disaster. Efficiency and time saving. This is one benefit of automation. It means tasks and processes are completed faster, and that frees up human resources so they can focus on more complex strategic projects. Email security. These are the measures we use to make sure the content of an email account or service is safe and that access to it is secure. Embedded system. This is a computer system that is specialized and specifically designed to carry out dedicated functions or tasks inside of a bigger system.
Employee retention. This is a benefit of automation where removing boring manual tasks from employees' work leads to better job satisfaction and better retention rates.
Enabling or disabling services and access. These are processes that are normally set off by certain events or conditions, things like a specific time of day or certain security problems. Thank you for watching.